Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I thought in today's video we would take a tour of my cookbook, and I can explain a little bit more about this book because I had somebody make a comment on one of my videos that they have the original cookbook that I had, and they were hoping that the new book has recipes in it because they haven't been able to make one thing out of this cookbook and they need something more than templates. And I wasn't really understanding the question because the original book and the current book have 101 recipes in them, plus templates. So I wasn't really understanding that, but that made me think that maybe we need to take a little walkthrough of this so I can explain it, because it is a cookbook with recipes, but it's a bit more than that. All right, so this is the original cookbook, and some of you may have this. My dad and I put this together. This is a handmade product. We self-published this one. I did everything that you see here, the covers, the interior, I did the layout, the editing, the photography, everything in here. And then I had it printed by a local business, and they put it in a spiral bound version. They did a nice cardstock front and back cover, and the paper inside is really, really nice. So we were really happy with this book, but I was talking to my next door neighbor and she did not know that we had a cookbook. And I realized if my next door neighbor didn't know that, then a lot of people didn't know that we had a cookbook. The whole point I wrote this is to get it out to as many people as possible so I could help people and give them ideas on plant-based eating. So I did decide, after doing some research, lots of research, and talking to local authors, to go ahead and go with a publisher. So I signed on with Palmetto Publishing. And I worked with my project manager and the design team and my consultant, and this is the final product. Both books are very similar as far as their content goes. There is a little bit something new in the newer version here. Both books have 101 recipes. I think I counted in the first book. I think it was 101. There might even be 102 in this one, actually, because we added a new recipe to it. But there's at least 100 recipes in these books. The other thing that's new in this book here is I went through and touched up some of the pictures to make them look nicer, and I took some new pictures of the food that I thought I could do a better job on. So there are some updated photos in this one. Also, every single recipe in this book has a picture. In the original book, I think I didn't take a picture for the cashew cream part of the book because I figured all those recipes kind of look the same, but it is still nice to have something to look at for a recipe. So every recipe in here has a picture. My dad added one new recipe to this book. It's for one of his cheese sauce versions, and it's, by my vote, the best vegan cheese sauce I've ever eaten in my life. It's incredible. So he put that in here. We did update just a couple of the recipes, you know, because as we make things, we get better at them and we figure out different ways to do it. So there's a couple of minor adjustments to things in here. And I added a section on batch cooking in here. So let's take a walk through the book. This is the front cover here, and they have a really nice back cover that they did. And then in the beginning of the book, they have a very nice table of contents that they laid out for me. And because the table of contents is pretty descriptive, you know, I think the table of contents is really good at pointing out where things are. I opted to not put an index in this one. I found indexes in cookbooks to be kind of hit or miss as far as being helpful to me. Like sometimes I'll look something up and it's like, see here, and then you go there and it says, well, see here, and it'll keep bouncing you around. These, I mean, it's a pretty straightforward cookbook, and there's really good descriptions here in the table of contents as to what things are. So that's why I opted for no index. Then here we have about the book, and I talk about what this book is. So it is a recipe book because, like I said, there's at least 100 recipes in here. I think I counted 101 or 102. But I wanted to write a cookbook that was more than just a cookbook with recipes. I love to teach, and I wanted to be able to share the knowledge that my dad and I have gained with other people. And we've been eating this way for 11 years, so we've learned a few things along the way. I wanted to be able to share that with other people. So in the beginning of the book, there's like a little mini cooking school of sorts that I put together. I also believe that each person is unique in the kitchen. We're unique in how we prepare food. The foods that we have available to us differ among people, and if you give the same recipe to two different people, even if they prepare it with the same ingredients, for some reason it always tastes differently. And I think that it is the magic that comes from each individual person. I wanted to capture the uniqueness of each of us. So this is a personal tool and guide for each person that uses it. So in the beginning, I talk about that, you know, how and why I put the book together. So it's like a teaching cookbook. It's also a journal where it has, you'll see in here, but there are sections with lined areas where you can keep notes on your recipes, so you can note the substitutions that you did and the thoughts you had about it. And let's see, we'll walk through the beginning of it. So that's the about the book here. And then we get into a little story time, why my dad and I decided to change our diet. So I get into the history of how my dad and I discovered a plant-based diet, why we started eating a plant-based diet. I also talk about some of the health issues that we had. And then I get into our struggles with our weight, because we've both struggled with managing our weight pretty much all of our lives until we found a plant-based diet. So I talk about that. And then I offer some tips on how we were able to transition into eating a plant-based diet. And I wanted to note that I don't say any of that because I'm trying to convince anybody to start a plant-based diet. I don't think it's going to resonate with everybody. We all eat different ways. And my dad and I just have never been the types of people to want to like push this in somebody's face and say, you know, you need to eat 100% plant-based or you're going to die tomorrow. We don't believe that. But we do know that it's one thing that helped us. And if it's something that other people wish to explore, then we do offer some tips about how we transitioned into eating this way. But that's the story time part of it. And then we get into the little mini cooking school that I put together. Now, I'm not a chef. I just am a home cook. And these are some things that I've learned along the way. So the first section is how to build flavors and cook vegetables. And I think a lot of people really don't like vegetables because they haven't had them prepared properly. Think about the days when you've had a green vegetable that's been cooked to death and it's on a plate and you're looking at this thing going, seriously? But if you cook vegetables and fruits or prepare them properly, they should be vibrant and colorful and delicious. And they have these, it should augment their natural beauty and their natural flavors. So if they're cooked properly, prepared properly, I think a lot more people would be willing to at least try them because they're going to be a little bit more appealing. And so that's what I talk about here. So we talk about deglazing the pan, meaning getting all those delicious savory brown bits up off the pan when you're cooking something. We talk about reduction and caramelization, which is when you reduce something down and concentrate its flavor and bring out all those beautiful sweet and savory notes. I talk about roasting and how I do that. And then we get into aromatics. And aromatics are those things that bring a little bit of extra flavor and depth to a dish. They're things like garlic and onion and ginger and mushrooms and all those beautiful things that we use to cook with. So I talk about aromatics. There's a little thing in here about toasting nuts and seeds and then working in layers to concentrate flavors, because that's another thing that I do, especially when I'm cooking soups, is to help develop flavors as I'm going along. Then I get into cooking vegetables and preserving their pigments and flavor. So there are different ways that you can cook, like blanching and steaming and boiling and things. And then how to preserve the pigments. There's different ways that we can do that, how we can help green vegetables remain green and maybe even get brighter green as they cook. Same thing with the purple, blue, and white variety of vegetables. And then I talk about the orange and yellow vegetables. So that's in here because that's one of the things that will help fruits and vegetables be even more appealing, because they're just going to look beautiful. And then I get into a very important section I wanted to put in this book called Flavor and Balance, the Foundations of a Good Dish. This is where I talk about the 5 tastes that we have: sweet, sour, salty, bitter, savory. And the other sensations that we might have, like the spicy or the pungent, right? And then I get into texture and color. which is another layer to this. And I offer ideas for utilizing each of these flavors. You know, sweet will complement this, and salty does this, and here are some examples of salty elements. Here are some examples of sweet things. And then we get into other tips. And here we talk about frozen and canned fruits and vegetables, cutting and chopping, etc. So there's a lot of things in this section. There's a note on potatoes in here because potatoes are really important to a lot of plant-based diets, as are other starches. But potatoes, there's just so many different varieties of them, and there's something that I've kind of become quite familiar with over the past decade. I decided to put a section in here on different types of potatoes. I have a note on grains. I even have a note on salts in here. And I know a lot of people don't add salt to their meals, but if you do, there is a section in here on salts. Once I learned about the different salts and their purpose, it was kind of a game changer for me. And now I really enjoy, you know, playing with different salts on food. And then I talk about tofu and soy curls because my dad and I do use those quite a bit. And then I offer a section on grocery and kitchen staples, some basic seasonings, condiments, sauces, canned and bagged basics for the pantry and the freezer, all the way to bakeware, utensils, your griddle, your blender, etc. So there's information on that. And then I added in this book a section on batch cooking. So that's the little cooking school type thing I have in the beginning. And then we get into the recipes. So each section of recipes starts with a page that looks like that. It's got a picture of one of the recipes that's featured. And for instance, this one is granola oatmeal pancakes and scrambles. And this one starts off with an oil-free granola template. So this is one that I put together on how to make your own oil-free granola. But if you're not totally comfortable using the templates quite yet, or that's not what you're looking for, don't worry. There are recipes in here that you can actually follow. And like I said, there are pictures for every recipe in here. So we get into oatmeal. I even have an oatmeal template in here. This one is a cool page because it's all the different like desserty and bread inspired oatmeal variations. And we move through kind of the breakfasty items here. We have overnight oats with a template in here as well. And more recipes. We've got a pancake template and a pancake recipe. We get into tofu scramble template and another recipe for that. And then there's just some fun stuff in here. How to make hash browns. My dad's potato hash is in here. I've got French toast. And then the next section is soups and stews. And again, I start off with a soup template, and then we get into more recipes. So everything from making your own vegetable broth to different types of soups. There's several soup recipes in here. The next section is bowls. And yes, as expected, I start off with a bowl template in the beginning, but then I have other suggestions on how to put bowls together here. So there's a few of those in here. We have veggie burgers. As you can expect, it starts off with a veggie burger template, and then there's plenty of recipes in here for that. Then we get into salads and veggie dishes. And yes, there is even a green salad template in here. And then I have some ideas on putting together salads. And we have some other things in here like pasta salad and things, and my Polish potato salad. There is a chickpea salad template with different variations. And then we get into our favorite basic recipes. And this section does not have any templates in it. These are just foods that we like to make on a regular basis, and these are our recipes for those. So everything from my dad's baked tofu to his tuna fish using soy curls, to his teriyaki potatoes, to his chicken wings, his chickenless, boneless wings. Slam dunk recipe. You have to try that one. It is a little bit involved. It's worth every bit of work. Oh my goodness, it's so good. His how he makes seitan is in here as well. And there's some other things in here that are good. And then dips and spreads. As you can imagine, there are templates in here too. There's a hummus template. There are hummus recipes. There's beans, peas, and lentils dip template because it can be a little bit different than hummus. So there's a template in there for that with some other recipes like my spinach artichoke dip and my Tuscan bean dip. And there's a bean dessert dips template because you can take beans and turn them into a sweet dip, really. So there's a black bean brownie dip, there's cookie dough dip, and then we have sauces and condiments. Yep, there's templates in here. So this one here is the ultimate plant-based cheese sauce template. I thought this was vitally important to have in this book because so many people that eat plant-based need a good substitute for cheese. And I started noticing over the years that cheese sauces tend to have a lot of common ingredients. So as I started doing investigating, I came up with a template that seems to work. So you can add the stuff that you like and come up with your own cheese sauce recipe. But if you don't want to do that, we've got plenty of cheese sauce recipes in here. There's a gravy template with a couple recipes for that. There are some other little condiment items here, sauces. And then we get into cashew cream and dressing bases. So we have that as well as a dressing template. And then, yes, I have ranch dressing in here, but I have 5 versions of ranch dressing. So I have everything from how to make it with cashews to tofu to beans to zucchini as your base. So I've got 5 different versions of ranch in here, as well as some other dressings. We also have a section called Build-A-Bar, and I love these because they're kind of like a big buffet, and you set out all your different food items and people can make their own plates and bowls with them. And I have ideas in here on how to construct different bars, like your taco or burrito bar, pasta bar, baked potato bar, etc. And then we have sweet stuff. We don't have a ton of stuff in this section. My dad and I really we don't make a lot of desserts, honestly. But there's date or fruit paste. My dad's chocolate pudding is in here, which you can turn into popsicles. And then I've got an oat bites template with different variations on the oat bites that you can make. And then in the back of the book is about the authors. So it's not a very big book. It's just under 150 pages. It's very compact. It has a lot of information in it. And I was a little bit worried when I first saw it. I said, oh my gosh, it's not that big of a book. But my dad said, this is great because having a really big cookbook is kind of clunky. And everything is condensed in here. I'm sure if I took the pictures and I put a picture on one page and my recipe on the other, this book would be twice as big as it is, but that's not how we did it. We have a picture that you can see in there, and then there's the ingredients and there's the how-to right there on the same page. So it's a very compact but information-filled book. And like I said, I really wanted to capture the uniqueness of each person, allow people and encourage them to be creative in the kitchen. I'm trying to get people excited about getting back into their kitchen and preparing their own foods. And I'm just hoping that this book can provide a lot of good advice and guidance for people, really regardless of how you eat. You could be a 100% plant-based, very experienced eater, and I still think that you can get some good tips out of this book. You could just be looking to get more fruits and vegetables into your life and you just don't know how to do it or where to start. I think you're going to get good ideas out of this. Maybe you're somewhere in between where you eat a plant-forward diet. Maybe you have a little animal products here and there. This definitely has some great ideas for you. In fact, there are a couple of recipes where I offer an omnivore like addition. So I just know that a lot of people aren't going to eat 100% plant-based. And like I said, I'm not trying to encourage people to do that. I respect the way that people eat. And if you are a person that wants to consume some animal products or you are eating with somebody who is, then I threw some ideas in here on, well, then you could add this to your meal, but it's still a very plant-rich meal. So I really wanted to offer something for everybody out there. And that's the book. So it is a little bit more than just a cookbook, but there definitely are recipes in there, and because I know the templates, I'm starting to learn. People, as excited as I was about all the templates, I know it's not what everybody is looking for, but there are, like I said, over 100 recipes in the book as well. So I think overall we did a good job on it, and I'm really proud that we did this. I still can't believe that I'm holding this book in my hands. So another reason I wrote the book was, yes, I wanted to, you know, share my knowledge with people and help people. I also wanted to honor my dad, because my dad has been my guiding light my whole life, and I am just really thankful that he's still here. We've had some scares with his health over the years, and you know, we embarked on a plant-based dietary pattern together, and it was one of the things that helped him turn his health around. I'm not going to sit here and tell everybody that a plant-based diet is a cure-all and will cure all that ails you and that's all you need to do. It's just one piece in the puzzle that can help, you know, with overall health, I think. And my dad did that. He also did some other things. You know, he quit smoking. He managed his stress. He started exercising more. There's a lot of things that he did, but I'm just really glad that he's here still. And I wanted to honor him with this book. I wanted people to know who he is and get inspired by his story, because this man here, he loves life. And he said recently he wants to die tired. He just wants to go and do it all. And if I ever saw somebody who's, you know, happy to be alive and loves life, it's my dad. So this is for you, Dad. But yeah, I just wanted to take you on a tour of the book to show you more features that it has. We're really proud of it. And I hope that if you do get a copy of it or have a copy of the first book, that you really enjoy it and that it serves you for many, many years to come. I think in the next video, or in a video down the road here, we will do some recipes out of this and we'll cook from the book. I think that'll be kind of fun. This video is going to be a little bit too long to do that, but next time or in the near future. So that's it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed taking a tour of the book, and we all thank you very much for hanging in there with us and being supportive of our book and our channel and just us in general. We really appreciate it. We love hearing from you guys. So I hope you guys have a great week, and I will see you guys in the next video.